For sure, it's complicated in history, but nothing happened in history should justify terrorism. Resistance is for sure not terrorism, but killing innocent people is. It's not between Palestinian and Israel. It's Hamas and Israel. And Hamas is also against Palestinian people's interests. They are using children and women as suicide bomber. I want to just ask you one question. Would you like your family be treated like that? Would you send your children, your wife to be the suicide bomber? Would you welcome them to come into your household? Terrorism is terrorism. A war is a war. No war can guarantee zero loss of lives, unfortunately. However, terrorism is targeting people on purpose, aim intentionally on civilians. There's nothing wrong to condemn terrorism. What else do you choose? Hello, everyone. Today, I have to make this video to talk about right now the tragedy happening in the world. Everyone in social media is talking about this as well. I didn't want to comment on this thing until I saw many people, not only in China. I originally thought it was only happening in China that people are standing with Hamas, which is a terrorism. And then I found out Instagram, Facebook, and Western popular social media is actually the same. There are many people from democratic, civilized country. They also stand with Hamas, which is shocking me. And I had some arguments online with someone. Then I figured out their thinking mode, why they think this way. Then I figure out it's not like they are evil people, but they cannot tell apart Hamas and Palestine. They believe Hamas represents Palestinians, share the same interests with Palestinian people. And secondly, they cannot tell apart what is war, what is terrorism. So when you are talking about Hamas is terrorist, there's no place for terrorism. They were talking about, okay, it's a complicated issue with a long history, but terrorism should never be justified or defended or glorified. Firstly, you have to understand which are the two sides of the conflict. It's not between Palestinian and Israel. It's Hamas and Israel. You should not put Hamas and innocent Palestinian people on one side. If you do it this way, you are saying Palestinian people are terrorists. I saw some videos posted online. I saw there's a sign saying resistance is not terrorism. Yes, resistance is for sure not terrorism, but killing innocent people in front of their family is. Murdering kids in front of their parents is. Some people even saying, okay, so that might be fake news. If you trust Hamas that way, then why don't you just see what Hamas is posting? Go to see the videos they post themselves. If you check those videos, if you've ever listened to those victims who luckily survived but never feel painful for those lost lives, what I can say is you're not a human. Even a beast can do better. Here, I'm not saying Israel does everything right in history, treating Palestinian people. I'm not saying so. Of course, they did lots of bad things as well. I also stand with Palestinian people. But no matter how, no matter what happened, cannot justify terrorism. Does not change the fact that Hamas is a terrorism. Does not justify the murder towards people. Some people, they bring up history saying, okay, in the history, Israel also bombed hospitals. There are also Palestinians died. I didn't research it and never verified it, so I don't want to comment it too much. Let's just assume you're right. Israel had also caused this. But firstly, a war is a war. Today, if Hamas launched a war, a decent war, I will shut up. You can say they deserve to fight back, to resist. However, what they are doing right now is terrorism. That's not a war. They are not targeting the army. They are not targeting military use infrastructure. They were kidnapping innocent people and kill them, shot them, and torture them in a horrible way. Especially Hamas is hiding under their people. They're using civil architecture, civil building as their umbrella, control those civil construction, use people as disguise, which confirms again that's a terrorism. Admittedly, unfortunately, war is sad. If there's a war, there's always loss of lives. There will be dead civilians on both sides in this process. But at least Israel is not intentionally kill people in Gaza, never aim intentionally on civilians. Even now, Israel announced the people in Gaza to evacuate in 24 hours. They allow 24 hours for people to save their lives. By the way, as far as I know, Gaza's electricity, power, water are supplied by Israel, at least before the war. I'm not trying to glorify the war, just use this example to let those people who don't understand the difference between war and terrorism understand the situation. I'm not arguing here like the land belong to whom. Well, I think it's nonsense because if today lands belong to where depends on history, okay, then the modern country, the definition of modern country does not exist. Every country is not clean. All the land in history is not your land. Argue on this thing is meaningless, right? Because it's hard to tell. History is history. Now we are living in modern society. We just respect the current rule of the game. We just need to focus on the current treaty of peace. Again, whoever the land belongs to, it does not justify terrorism, okay? I also agree that, yes, Israel oppresses Palestinian people in some ways. But you think Hamas never? Hamas oppressed Palestinian people in a much worse way. Those people who always bring up history, why don't you look into history? What Hamas has done, they are using children and women as suicide bomber. They use them as a shield, which caused their death by Israel. When you trying to defend Hamas, have you ever think about these people? That's a lot of words that you don't even condemn. Terrorism harass right now who's killing innocent people both in Israel and Palestine, but claim you are concerned about Palestinian. And I feel sorry for Palestinian people as well. And I condemn Israel government regarding inhumane activity, what Israel has done to Palestinian people. But this cannot change the fact that right now Israel people is under terrorism and they are the victim. Now the people who are murdered, who are facing the difficulty is Israel people. Why can't we stand with Israel people at this moment? If you don't even care the suffering right now, if this blood, this brutal violence in front of your face, you don't even feel painful, and you say you are the one who has humanity, stop presenting yourself as a moral humanity defender. You are not. That's just either evilness or stupidity to defend terrorism. There is nothing wrong to fight against terrorism. You should understand Hamas is everyone's enemy, including Palestinian people. Without Hamas, maybe Israel does not need to build that wall anymore, because Israel also needs to protect their own people. About the history, it's complicated. I don't take myself as a history expert, but one thing I can see is how one is treating their own people. What I know is Hamas use their children, women, seniors as weapons. They don't care about their own people's life. However, at least Israel is protecting their own people's life. Yeah, in many wrong ways, at the cost of harming other people, which is wrong. Some people, their thinking mode is not focused on the fact, focused on what's happening. They are focusing on the stance, the standpoint, whatever they don't like against that side forever, even though that side doing something right, they don't care. Like, I don't like Justin Trudeau, but I never just hate every single thing he's ever done only because I don't like him in general. No, towards this terrorism, I think our Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has done the right thing. He stands with humanity. he stands with the bottom line, which is no terrorism should be tolerated. So in the end, I'd like to quote what he had said. That's exactly what I want to say. Glorification of death and terrorists and violence has no place anywhere. Hamas terrorists aren't a resistance. They are not freedom fighters. They are terrorism. No one in Canada should be supporting them. Period.